Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to Boeing Phil, and to today's episode, places that I visited this year. I would like to mention before we start this video that this is not only the last video of the year, but it's also the last video of the decade, which means that this is the first decade I've actually done YouTube, which is awesome. It's also the second decade I've lived through, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. I started off this year in Washington, D.C., and flew down to Miami to catch a cruise on board the Carnival Sensation, where I met Dallas Labrum. You should really go follow him on Instagram, he's a pretty cool guy. We both performed Bohemian Rhapsody on board the cruise at the karaoke deck. It was really fun, got a huge applause, and a standing ovation, not to brag. Then we hung out at the piano bar with Drew Phillips Music. You should also go follow him on Instagram. And then Dallas sang with Drew Bohemian Rhapsody. It was really awesome. We had a great time that night. We also met a lot of Indonesian cruise staff on board the cruise. I made friends with one of the crew members, and he actually let me go to the pool after he completely shut it down for everybody. It was epic. We got VIP treatment. It was really cool. And then we went to Nassau in the Bahamas, Half Moon Cay, which is technically in the Bahamas. It is also known as Little San Salvador, which is owned by the Holland American Line. After that, we went over to Grand Turk and the Turks and Caicos. Then we took a few weeks break to, rest and recuperate. I really got sick on the cruise because, that's what you do when you travel. After getting bored of staying home, playing video games, and watching YouTube and stuff like that, you know what you do when you have nothing to do at home. I decided to fly over to Seattle to go visit some family, go to college, see my cousin at Boeing, and we got to see Bill Gates' house from the water in kayaks. We also got to climb Mount Rainier in shorts, and I became a meme in Indonesia for that. And then on the way back to the other Washington, I got upgraded on Alaskan. That's a story for another time. Thank you so much, Alaskan. You're the best. And then this video was not sponsored by Alaskan, just so you guys know. After that, I went to Pennsylvania for encampment, because Virginia Wing encampment was when I was visiting Indonesia. So again, I was off to Fort Indiantown's Gap. I woke up at 6 in the morning every single day. We stood at attention for half an hour to get food. We got to eat for 5 minutes, visited the PA National Guard EC-130J Hercules, held a bazooka, and did a combat simulator. Another thing I did was I tried chicken for the first time, believe it or not. That was an interesting experience. After that, I flew over to Hong Kong. Filmed rich kids in their new Toyota Supras and California Tees, and their really awesome Rolls-Royce Phantom 2020 models, their Lamborghini Urus, which is, to be honest, ugly, and it's basically Volkswagen Atlas with the Huracan engine. But then my camera battery died, which was a very interesting moment because I only, up to that point, filmed the new 2020 Supra, which was in red, and it looked awesome. It was basically a BMW. It's a Z4, and then the shifter on it is the exact same shifter that you'd find in a Toyota Prius. So then we went over to the night market, and I got scammed, of course, because that's what you do at the night market. Then we also ran into some Hong Kong protesters. After that, we went to Vegas, but in Asia, which is technically Macau. We went back to Hong Kong. We went by ship, which took an hour. I really wanted to go by helicopter. It took 5 minutes, but it cost 10 times more, so we ran into protesters in front of our apartment.
Here's the aftermath of the
cops came literally as soon as we entered our apartment.
Yesterday's protest.
We stepped foot into our apartment, closed the door, took a breath, and
here's
then
the
police
aftermath
sirens
of
came
the
on. Interesting moment. And then
yesterday.
After that, we decided to go to the Buddha statue the next day. We got to ride on a glass-floored cable car, and then we went back to the night market, and I got scammed again. Technically, it was my brother, but yeah. We waltzed on over to the airport, where I got really mad at Cathay Pacific. That's the story for another time. And then we landed at Surabaya, the highlight of the trip. We went there, we got bitten by mosquitoes, hung out with family, got bitten by mosquitoes, flew over to Singapore for Independence Day fireworks. We met some friends, flew back to Surabaya in time for another Independence Day. Then we went to Yogyakarta, one of the old seven wonders of the world, stayed in Solo, went over to Semarang to see Borobudur. That was another one of the old seven wonders of the world. Man, people don't like Indonesian ancient sites. Then we went back to Surabaya and flew back to Hong Kong and back to Washington, where I am now, alone, watching YouTube, and rethinking the past year and how lucky I am to be able to travel the world. Anyway, that's all for this year, and we'll be seeing you next year for the Airport Awards. Be sure to subscribe to me. Follow me on Instagram at BoeingPhilYT. Go subscribe to German Aviation. Go follow Dallas Labrum at Dallas Labrum and at Drew Phillips Music. Go check those guys out on Instagram. Anyway, I'll see you guys next year.